Commission meeting. Sherry, can you take a roll call, please?
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Plitus.
Here.
Commissioner Carr. Here. Commissioner Cosmos.
Here.
Commissioner Dembinski.
Here.
Thank you. Reverend Bob. I had to look all around for you. So this is our Reverend Bob from our Drive-In Christian Church for our invocation.
And I invite you to stand as you're able as I share this invocation. Gracious and loving God, we gather this evening giving thanks for the rhythms of life in our community and the opportunity to participate in them. As the school year comes to a close, we celebrate students and teachers, families as well, and rejoice in the promise of graduations and the gift of summer ahead. As we approach Memorial Day, we pause in gratitude for those who gave their lives in service to our nation. Comfort their families and shape in us hearts of gratitude and lives of service. We give thanks for this city and for all who serve it so faithfully. We commend our city staff and public safety officials for their outstanding work during recent events, welcoming visitors with care and keeping our community safe. We pray you grant wisdom to these leaders tonight, to our commissioners and mayor, and guide their decisions for the good of all. This we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, this is our favorite part of the evening when we have a presentation for Sergeant Jessica Schoenbrod. Please come forward, Sergeant. Sergeant Schoenbrod has been with us for 15 years. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Miller, council members, City Manager Fowler, and Vice Mayor Plitus, Mark Swanson, Public Safety Director, here tonight to do a presentation for a Distinguished Service Award. This is an employee that's been with us for 15 years, Sergeant Schoenbrod. Sergeant Schoenbrod was joined Daytona Beach Shores Public Safety on May 16th of 2011. She was a field training officer, a detective, promoted to sergeant in 2020, and is currently the administrative sergeant. She is a EMT, firefighter, and EMT, and law enforcement officer. Sergeant Schoenbrod.
Without saying how proud and how much we value our public safety department. We started a tradition several years ago whenever we have a new officer sworn in that myself, a lot of the council or commission comes, but we also have residents there because most of these new officers might have come from another city where they're not as valued and honored and appreciated. And I said, welcome to Daytona Beach Shores. You're in for a real treat. You're going to be stopped in Publix to tell you how much we love you. You're going to be getting meals fed to you by several members of the community. So again, everybody in our public safety department, we appreciate you and value you. Thank you for everything you do. Next, we're going to go on to the approval of our minutes for our City Commission meetings from April 7th, 2026. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes as is?
I so move.
I'll second.
Second. If there's no additions or corrections, Sherry, can you take a vote on that, please? And that passed 5-0. Thank you. Next, we're going to go on to our consent agenda. On our agenda this evening, we have 3 items. Do I hear a motion to accept without pulling any for discussion?
Also move. Sorry, Mark. Second.
I think that was Commissioner Conmos that made the motion, and Commissioner Card that second. Hey, Sherry, if you could take the vote on that, please. And that passed 5-0. Okay, next we're going to move on. We do not have on any old business this evening. So next we are going to have a discussion on item A, discussion on the future of the Daytona Beach Shores Foundation under our first agenda item on new business.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I met with the 5 members of the current foundation earlier last month. They let me know that their intention is to bring their service to an end at the end of this calendar year. Those members are currently Harry Jennings, Lonnie Groot, Peggy Rice, Lynn Bishop, and Lowell Wynn. And 4 of the 5 are here tonight, and when I conclude, if you have questions for them, they're available to answer those questions. Just to give a brief overview of what the foundation is and what they do for us. They were established in June of 2011 as a nonprofit. They have maintained their status as a 501c3 public charity, which guarantees that any donations made to the foundation are tax deductible. The purpose of the foundation, as stated in their bylaws, is to support community initiatives, administer grants and gifts, and promote arts, culture, and community programs. It's important to note that although the foundation benefits the city and is here specifically for city functions, they are distinct and different from the city. They are not a part of the city. Some of the notable accomplishments in the past, you'll see our veteran banners going up. It's probably one of the most loved programs in the city. It gives folks that are either veterans or have family members that are veterans an opportunity to honor them. You'll see the banners throughout the city. They are the ones who have started and administered that. I've agreed to, it doesn't take much funding to maintain that because they've done such a great job establishing it. The city will go ahead and take that over regardless of what happens, and we will begin to administer that. They were instrumental in raising funds for the original pickleball courts, which is probably our biggest daily draw to the city. And also when public safety needed new aiming devices, they came up with half the money for the red dot sights. The way that they are structured is a 5-member board of directors. Each member must be a city resident and registered to vote. They are elected for 3-year terms. There's no compensation, and the board approves their successors. That's important when we get into the options going forward. The board has to be the one to select those. I think they're going to solicit input from the commission should you want to continue with the board. So there are 3 proposed options. The first one is you could choose to dissolve, and they could choose to dissolve the foundation, and they would distribute their remaining funds in accordance with law. They have 2 projects that they are currently working on, and that's why they want to stay to the end of the year. They're doing something with the CAMs, and they're also coming up with something to help provide more information about our Court of Flags and its origin. They could inactivate, but if they inactivate, we still need to find 5 new board members. They have to maintain the 5 members. That would put them in an inactive status so that it could be brought back later, should that be desired, but they would still have to file paperwork. City staff is willing to work with whomever continues that on should we decide to go in that direction. And then the third option, and this is what staff is recommending, is that we continue operations and work with the foundation to identify 5 new board members and work with the foundation through the end of the calendar year for a smooth transition.
Okay, thank you. First of all, when you say CAM, I'm sure most people know what that is, but can you clarify?
The condo managers.
Okay, just want to make sure. Before we go to this, I just want to thank each and every one of you. I cannot tell you the number of compliments I get on the banners that you've done. The red dot was fantastic, the pickleball, but I think I get the most feedback on those. What a nice thing that you do for our veterans. Appreciate it. So could you give them a round of applause? Here on the dais, let's have a discussion. Can I go to you first, Vice Mayor? Do you have any questions or any of these that appeal to you the most?
I think I would like to see it continued. I think it's getting citizens' involvement. In fact, former Mayor Jennings got me involved when we created the Cultural Board. And then I got to see a little bit about how the city works, but all those different concerts and the things that they do. And I think that they would be a great promoter of ideas, things like that, and work in conjunction with Director Maddox. And, you know, we have a lot of faith in our city government, and we can do things here, but it's nice to have another board from the outside looking in and giving us a different perspective and bring new ideas and, you know, make it a better place to live and have fun in.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Economist?
I agree with the Vice Mayor. I'd like to continue it as well.
Okay. When we say continue, though, I just want to make sure, so does that city manager, I have a couple clarifying questions. So that means that they would stay on till 2026, but in the meantime, try to solicit other people. It just gives them 6 or 7 more months. Is that correct? Do you want to come up, Mr.?
With your help,
Okay.
to identify people who can serve on the board, yes.
Okay, all right, so that would be the intention. You would continue to work till the end of the year,
Oh, yes,
but
that-
with the city and public notices and whatever we can do, explaining what the foundation is, that you're available for any questions, but to have some citizens that would want to carry it
And
on.
help them to educate people that have been identified to serve on the board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Dominski?
Yes, the folks in the front row there have been a big part of the city for many years. But the foundation, when I was public safety director, came through when we were trying to sort of keep our officers a lot safer. And Harry and his group came through, and the foundation was wonderful for the public safety department. And obviously with the veterans banners, and just, I'd love to see it keep going.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Card?
I also would like to see continue the operations.
Okay, and I feel the same way too. You know, I don't want that terminated. I think they've done so much good work, but my plea is to each and every one of you out there. A lot of people have come up to me and said, how can I get involved? What can I do? I love this city. I want to be part of it. This is going to be your opportunity to be part of it. So again, former Mayor Jennings would be glad to talk to you about that, about what it would require. But please, we're going to give them the option to stay till the end of the year, but that's only when they find 5 board members that are willing to pick it up. So please, even if you're not interested, tell your friends, tell people that live in your condo, hey, there's a fantastic opportunity in our city to do good. So right now, Becky, do we need a vote on this?
No, I believe you've already created a consensus here.
Okay, great. Hey, City Manager, do you need anything else on that?
No, ma'am, I will coordinate, excuse me, I will coordinate with the commission and with the board, and we will try to find the skill set that we're looking for and then identify people that fit that skill set and bring it to the board.
Great. Again, thank you for all your hard work. I hope it's probably going to be very, very hard to find 5 people to fill those shoes, but we're going to try as hard as we can to carry on the transition that you have started. Thank you. Okay, next, we're going to go on to item B, and that is the settlement agreement and termination of public walkway easement at 2901 South Atlantic Avenue. Becky, do you have something to read for us?
No, that will be on the next item.
Okay. Stuart, would you have something you'd like to go over with us?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. For the record, Stuart Cruz, Community Service Director with the City of Daytona Beach Shores. This agenda item is the Tuscany Shores Condominium Settlement Agreement and termination of public walkway easement for the public walkway easement located at 2901 South Atlantic Avenue, where the Tuscany Shores condominium resides. Just a quick background as to how the easement started and things that happened afterwards that are related to this particular agreement. In 2005, the Tuscany Shores Public Beach Access Easement was dedicated by the developer to the city as required by the city's Land Development Code. The public easement, walkway easement, runs essentially from South Atlantic Avenue east to the seawall. It's about maybe 280 feet long, 6.5 feet wide, and on the easterly side of the easement, the developer also in 2005 dedicated through a bill of sale dune walkover, or ramp that's essentially 20 feet high above ground and 6.5 feet wide in terms of width, and also about 290 feet in terms of linear footage of material on the ground. In 2016, that dune walkover was destroyed by Hurricane Matthew and subsequently rebuilt a couple of years after. In 2022, the dune walkover again was significantly damaged by Hurricane Ian, and in 2024, there was further damage to the dune walkover incurred by Hurricane Milton, rendering the dune walkover unsafe by the city engineers. In fact, it was so unsafe that in 2025, a few months after it was damaged by Hurricane Milton, it had to be demolished and removed because there was a fear of collapse.
Can I just stop you for a minute? So when these took place, these incidents, is that when it was tied into the wall?
Yes, it was
Well,
indeed tied
okay.
into the
So
seawall.
all of those, so we had all of that damage with it tied into the seawall.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So some key considerations when looking at this agreement is the rebuild cost, the capital upfront cost that the city would incur if it would have to rebuild the dune walkover, which is estimated at $250,000 to $300,000, and that's just for a basic construction cost. It does not include the additional design factors that the city engineer has already contemplated. So typically, whenever you build a dune walkover or a set of stairs on the beach side, it would be about 6 to 8 inches in diameter, the posts, the pilings, but the city engineer has already contemplated that it would have to go up to 10 to 12 inches wide, in diameter, and so that would obviously put the cost north of $300,000. And obviously, as we know, there's an increased frequency and risk of storm damage and destruction here in Volusia County, in the state of Florida in a whole. I think everyone is experiencing that, and it's not only tropical storms, meaning a tropical storm, depression, whatever have you, or a hurricane, but it's also nor'easters. Some of you may remember that the beach reconstruction project for the dunes that was done by the Volusia County, by the County of Volusia, it was a nor'easter that basically wiped away the vast majority of those dunes last year. And in addition to that, anyone who has looked at the news recently in the last year or so is probably fully aware of the FEMA reimbursement uncertainty that exists in Washington, D.C. And finally, there is an existing beach access nearby at the 2853 South Atlantic Avenue Park, which is essentially a 1 to 2 minute walk from the existing Tuscany Shores easement to that particular park, and essentially it equates to about 350 feet. So what does this agreement do? This agreement does two things. Essentially, it provides a payment of $25,000 to Tuscany Shores Condominium as a consideration for their rebuilding their own beach access from their property onto the beach. And also release the city from any obligations under the easement. So for those of you who have taken a look at the easement in the audience and the obligations that are associated with that, there is an implied responsibility of the city to provide beach access to Tuscany Shores through this easement agreement. And so if this were to be approved by the City Commission tonight, and it has already been approved by the Board of Tuscany Shores, they're supporting this action, it would release the city of any potential implied or otherwise obligation that exists under the easement. The next thing that it would do would be to essentially terminate and be the first step in the vacation of the easement as well, which would be following this particular agenda item through the adoption of Ordinance 2026-04. And so I'm just going to go through some exhibits really quickly. To the left is an aerial view of the Tuscany property, and you'll see that the easement is to the south of the property. It runs from A1A to the beach, and it also runs over the garage. And this is another reason why I believe Tuscany Shores is fully in support of this, because there is a sidewalk, as you can see, to the right-hand side, a street view of the easement area that traverses over the top of the underground garage. And so remediation and maintenance of the underground garage could be questioned at times because of that particular improvement above the garage. This is an aerial view, a little bit zoomed out, of the Tuscany easement location and the 2853 South Atlantic Avenue beach access, which is at the park, which is basically just north of the St. Kitts condo. And as you can see, there's direct access along the sidewalk and along the beach from the easement to the park. As I mentioned earlier, it's about 350 feet separating the two. And this is an even further aerial view zoomed out of the area. So essentially, this is a 2-mile swath. The gold star in the middle is where the Tuscany easement is located. If you go a mile north and a mile south, you'll see that there's a total of 9 pedestrian beach access from South Atlantic Avenue to the beach. There is a table to the right that basically shows that there is parking located at least 6 of these locations, and there's also ADA ramp accessibility of 4 of those as well. There is one that is being processed, if you want to call it that, at Van Avenue as well. And Van Avenue, I believe, is 0.58 of a mile, basically a little bit over half a mile from the Tuscany easement. And the other nearest ADA access to the north is Frank Rendon Park, which is approximately the same location, same distance as well. So with that said, staff is recommending approval as presented. As I mentioned, the Tuscany Shores Condominium Association, they have already approved and executed this agreement. You'll see it in your staff packet. If there's any questions for staff, I'll be happy to take those.
We have a couple speakers, but Stuart, can you tell me, so the new ramp at Frank Rendon Park, was the elevation that was at Tuscany higher than what that?
Much more.
Much higher, okay.
I don't know the exact elevation at Frank Rendon, but the elevation at the Tuscany location is 20 feet, essentially.
And I know since we've lived here in 2010, I believe that the Frank Rendon's been replaced 3, perhaps 4 times from that. That's okay. Do I hear a motion? And then we can discuss. Do I have a motion to accept as recommended by staff?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, and I do have a couple of speakers. We will listen to them first, and then we'll make our discussion. So the first speaker I have is Rick Brown. Rick, you'll have 3 minutes to talk to us. Thank you.
Yeah, point of clarification. I wanted to talk on items B, C, and D.
Okay.
Do I cover all subjects now or just B?
Right, just B.
So do I reclaim the remainder of my 3 minutes for the other?
We'll have 3 more minutes for C and 3 more minutes for D.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for the record, my name is Rick Brown. I live at 2917 South Atlantic Avenue, Oceans 10. This is a time that I have long feared for the past 21 years. I've owned at Oceans 10 for 28 years now. I have watched continual development close off beach access point after beach access point. We state that our city life is better here. We welcome our guests. It's the biggest part of Volusia's economy. I think we just had a recent presentation from Volusia County on how much the beach means. But nobody will come to the beach if they can't get to the beach. And even though I happen to live in a building that has its own private access, I don't put myself above the public. I'm part of the public too. I know for years before I owned there, when I was younger, I couldn't afford to own there. You know, I had to rely on public access. And what you have to remember, by vacating this agreement, which was put in originally for perpetuity, forever, that means once you give this access away, you don't ever get it back. Ever. So now what you're doing is following everything to the end. Now, Stuart did a nice presentation. I wish you still had that up there. One of the things that points out, as we all know, the real estate agents call it the Miracle Mile, it's a half-mile stretch of private residential homes that has that section of the beach locked off with the Frank Rendon Park, which was destroyed for many, many years, on the north side. This city council, and I'm sorry, Mayor, you weren't mayor at the time, approved this thing they call Oceans 25. I can refer to it as Airbnb 25. It brings in a lot of tourists. A lot of tourists need to get to the beach because that's what they paid all their money for, is to get to the beach. But since the city decided they want a large Airbnb there, they're going to find a way to get there one way or another. Now, when Mr. Cannon's construction project held the city hostage for 5 years and closed off the park, we had wall jumpers, people climbing through our bushes, jumping over the wall. We're going to see that again, because people are going to say, you know, and I look at this presentation, we'll discuss that later, where essentially putting way too much in a way too small property, and the city gave away almost a third, well, actually over a third of acre of city property to do that. We're putting ourselves, squeezing ourselves tighter and tighter and tighter. So I urge the city to think carefully. This agreement was done for Tuscany Shores for perpetuity, not to be taken away from the public. I also question item 6, whether or not that complies with the state regulations. I intend to research that more. I'm sorry I didn't have that information tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next, we have Barbara Bova.
I'm here, but I'm going to speak on.
Sure, does she need to fill out another form or just change what item she would? Barbara, do you know what, do you want to speak on C or D?
2853.
Okay, that's a D.
Yep.
Sure, let me know when you're ready. Mr. Gary Bova, did you want to speak or did you want to wait till item D? I'm sorry?
D.
D, all right. Jamie Cannon.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, and my fellow neighbors. I'm Jamie Cannon. My husband David and I reside at 2847 South Atlantic Avenue. As a lot of people refer to as that big house, we are directly north of this proposed park. While the obvious is property value, we are also members of this community, and we also have very legitimate concerns about security. As we already have people hopping our fence into our backyard despite notices going up, private property and such. With respect to having it held up for 5 years, we are also a family and we are people, and there are a lot of circumstances that made that happen. And if anybody in this room would ever want to know what their circumstances are, please feel free to come to me so I can speak to it. We are very concerned about this small area. It is almost as if we're trying to fit a semi-truck into a parking spot that is going to fit a Fiat or a smart car or a Cooper. There simply is not enough space. We are concerned about the amount of traffic. This is the greatest place to live. Welcome to Daytona Beach Shores. We chose this place because it was away from a lot of the touristy area. We are a completely residential area. While I am not opposed, and I am very sensitive to the fact that there needs to be an ADA compliant ramp there, I simply don't see the space that is available in that particular space. There is a space, Van Avenue, as we mentioned, half a mile, and then Daytona Beach Shores, it's a half a mile. I'm not opposed to an access to the beach. I just don't think it warrants a pavilion. There's also there's already a table there and a grill. The grill has not been maintained. if anyone wants to go look at it. So I'm concerned also about the maintenance issues of a pavilion and a toilet, and the smell, the people that are going to get, we're going to get attracted to people that I don't think, that sounds very callous, and I don't mean it that way, but again, we chose to live in this stretch of area for certain reasons, and the reason is because it's very pristine, it's very unique, and as you mentioned, we see our law enforcement in Publix and such, and I just feel like that is just going to be manipulated by, I don't know, sorry, I'm losing my track, but I'm looking at the clock. Thank you for your time, and
So Jamie, I just want to let you know too, I think most of your comments, more like the other people do, pertain to item D, but I didn't want to interrupt you, so I let you go ahead right now. So you're welcome. So we're talking again, let me say again before I call on my last speaker, we're talking right now with the settlement agreement and termination. So Jonathan Langford, is that something you wish to talk about? Thank you.
I just, don't feel like that we should give up any easements to access to the beach. I think that we should have as many access points as we can possibly get. I do think it's very unfair of a city to require a developer to give that easement access and probably required them to build that ramp whenever that building was constructed. And then years later, when it goes down, they don't want to put it back. Now, I heard the comments on 2016 and 2022 and 2024, but some of that is not exactly accurate. I mean, on your own engineer certification letter, which is on your website right now, is addressed to Stuart Cruz, where the engineering certification letters, based on extensive damage to the crossover structure and above observations made from site visits, the structure is in no danger, imminent danger of imminent collapse on its own without external force. That structure was constructed incorrectly. It should have been put on, his recommendation is 8-inch or 10-inch round wood post. Instead, it was built on 6x6 posts, which 6x6 pressure treated posts were probably not big enough to support that ramp, and it should have been put back with the round post. I do know that Tuscany currently is building their own stairway, and they've had to put it all the way on the other side of the building because that easement still exists. And that was the way that they could get it approved, but they're putting in the round post as they did up at the park just north of us. But, we shouldn't eliminate any of these access points. And, I was here last November when it was standing room only, and there were people, screaming and begging to have that ramp put back. And I think that there is a huge part of this community that still feels that way. We're one turtle nest away. If you remember the construction of the St. Kitts walkover, it had to stop construction for months because a turtle nested there. I mean, we're one turtle nest away, or one, something goes wrong up there because it could be, washed out as well. And it's unlike, that particular walkover has not been completed long, so it's probably unlikely to change. So I just think that easement should be kept, that ramp should be put back. It is not just for wheeled patrons, it's for people with canes. I know it helps buggies and all that too, but there are a lot of people that could utilize that ramp, and the updated, building codes with the ramp cutaways that have trap doors in them that lift out whenever it floods and doesn't float the deck, and the bigger post will support that ramp, and it will probably be there for a long, long time. And that's what our community needs. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't have any other speakers, and again, I see many people in the audience that have not been here before. I just wanted to let you know our practice is that we are very open to have you come up and speak to us. We don't, address you back. We don't make a two-way conversation. What we will do, if necessary, we refer you to one of our directors in the applicable department. So I just want to make sure you knew, what our practice is here. So I don't see any other speakers. We have a motion and a second. Do I hear any? I don't see any of our council that wanted to speak. So after we have this motion and a second, can we take a vote, please? Any discussion?
Can I say something?
Certainly.
Everyone's passionate, and there's two sides to every issue. I think the function of the city and the city government is to accommodate the citizens as best you can. And I think that with what Director Cruz brought to everyone's attention is you have lots of access points. With parking, with ADA compliance, with restrooms. When is enough enough? I have an opinion, you have a difference of opinion. We think, based on the information we received, at least the way I'll vote is, that's just a small, very narrow sidewalk and a huge, very steep, in my opinion, designed to fail again type of ramp. When we're going to go ahead and hopefully dedicate, or already have one just a little bit to the north, and there are others within a very short distance. Again, to repeat myself is, when's enough enough? We believe that we have provided more than enough access to the public and our residents, and then you got to think about where are they going to park? They're going to park on the west side of the street. And so then we're going to get complaints from you all about, they're blocking our driveways, or blocking our roads, they're dropping their garbage in our common areas or in our homes. So it goes without saying there may be disagreement in the event that the city commission votes a certain way, but I'm of the opinion, I try and use my common sense and my street smarts. I just think of it looking at the big picture. And so I just want you to know that a lot of the things that we receive information you may or not have considered, but your opinion is appreciated, it's valued. But I just wanted to kind of educate those people in the audience.
You don't care.
Oh, I do care.
You don't care.
Vice Mayor, let me stop you right now. We do not take any comments from the audience. We don't. If you'd like to come up and speak, you're more than welcome. We do not do this in our audience. Thank you so much. Anything else, Vice Mayor?
No. Show of hands.
No. Sir, please don't do that. Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
No.
Okay. Any other comments? No. Thank you. So if we could take a vote, please, Sherry. And that passed 5-0, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go on now to item C. So Stuart, is that you again? That's ordinance 2026-04. Attorney Vos, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, this is ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, making findings, vacating a public walkway easement on property located at 2901 South Atlantic Avenue, providing for documentation authorization, providing for conflicts, providing non-codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Attorney. Director, what do you have for us, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. This is the second prong, if you want to call it that, with regards to the termination vacation of the actual public beach access located at 2901 South Atlantic Avenue. So the adoption of this ordinance would essentially be the formal process that would be needed to eliminate the public beach access easement. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take those.
Thank you. Any questions for our director? I don't see any speakers up. Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept this ordinance 2026-04?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. And Rick Brown, you are up to speak. No, I'm sorry, I didn't have any speakers. We came up with this new system. We were all paper before, and we came up with the system. People were trying to talk all over each other, and now even up here, we have to put our name in to be heard. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Go ahead.
Rick Brown again, same address. As I pointed out, once you give it away, it's in perpetuity. Now, with all due respect, Mr. Politis, when you're younger and when I was younger, I had no problem running a half mile up the beach to another access. But you, sir, when you get old enough that you have to use a walker and a wheelchair and whatnot, you may not feel quite the same way. Most of the residents that live along here are in that sort of a situation now, okay? When I first bought in here, I was able to run up and down the beach, but now there's times when it's very difficult. What I find also extremely heinous is how the city approved a beach access for Tuscany Shores with 6 to 8 inch poles. The city did its due diligence and hired a consultant who I spoke to personally. And he said they shouldn't be anything less than 10 inches. And I agree. And as it was pointed out, and Stuart does a very good job of putting a presentation and put roses and lipstick on this pig. But I'll be honest with you, you're building the same thing next door, and the whole reason the city's giving it away is because the Tuscany Shores Board of Directors threatened the city with lawsuits. And now they're going in and building something even worse on the other side. Now, all the residents of my building, we always have to pay for the destruction to our ramp because the ramp next door always blows into ours and destroys ours, and we end up paying to fix it every single time. I've been here long enough to see it happen many times. Like I say, the recommendation from the consultant was a minimum of 10-inch poles, and yet you allowed Tuscany Shores to build something less. And when you get into discussion on the park on the north side, and everybody thinks, you know, if you got a Mercedes and you can drive all the way from your river mansion all the way out to the beach and park somewhere, that's fine. Well, like I say, not everybody has that ability. And I can tell you, as senior citizens, with the theme of life is better here, beach access is critical. Now, I'm lucky. As long as I live in my building, I've got my own beach access until it's destroyed by the poorly constructed ramp. You know, I'm going to be able to get to the beach, but there's lots that don't. And again, this city, I'll remind you, you approved this Oceans 25, which is essentially Airbnb 25. Those people aren't going away. So you can say what you will, those people are not going away. And they're going to continue to force their way onto the beach, whatever means they see possible. I am also deeply disturbed by the gift of $25,000. In addition to giving them the free access in perpetuity, you're giving them a check for $25,000. That to me just boggles my mind. Right? And in Stuart's presentation, I also wanted to point out that if it's built right, you don't have to rebuild it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. That is the only speaker I have. Stuart, I have a question for you. You can come up, please. I think I know the logistics pretty well, and you know we referred to Ocean 25 several times. Is that not direct access to what we have right next to St. Kitts? I mean, how far away is that walkway from Oceans 25?
It's essentially right across the street.
But they have no problem. Across the street.
Point of clarification on that, Matt. Yes, there is direct access straight across the street. There is currently a stairway there. It's closer than the Tuscany.
Thank you. Okay. No, we don't want to address, I just wanted to clarify. I thought that's what I was thinking in my mind. Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, any other questions? We had no other speakers. Sherry, can you take a vote, please? Okay, that passed 5-0. So now we're going to go on to item D. Director Maddox, what do you have for us this evening?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. Excuse me. Nancy Maddox, Community Engagement Director. I am here before you tonight to give you a timeline of 2853 South Atlantic Avenue, also known as St. Kitts Park. The P&Z Board approved and recommended to the Commission amending the Land Development Code by rezoning a 1.64 acre parcel located on the east side of South Atlantic Avenue near its intersection with Ridge Drive from RSF-1, which is residential single family, to RMF1. Okay. used to doing this, right? Residential multifamily, and P for public quasi-public district. Ordinance number 2002-07 was passed on first reading on 7/24/2002 and passed on the second reading August 28th of 2002. So it's the same 20. Sorry. February 4th, 2025. The City Commission approved the Selection Committee's recommendation and authorized the city manager to enter into negotiations with Castle Bay Studio to facilitate and create our citywide Parks and Recreation Master Plan. On March 4th, 2025, the City Commission authorized Mayor Miller to enter into a contract with Castle Bay Design Studio to develop the city's first Parks and Recreation Master Plan. On September 23rd, 25, after 6 months of doing research, public engagement, and development, the City Commission approved the proposed Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Can someone please shut off their phone? Is that a phone ring?
On October 5th, 2025, staff presented the Parks and Recreation Master Plan at the Coffee with the Mayor. Public engagement opportunities were through a master plan website, 2 public meetings that held over 120 attending, and a needs assessment survey that was mailed to all our residents, and the consultant received approximately 222 responses.
Never got it.
The top 4 primary improvements survey recommendations from the Parks and Recreation Master Plan were number 1, McElroy Park, number 2, St. Kitts Beach Access, 3, Sunset Park, and a Daytona Beach Shores urban trail. The public would like more shade and trees, another community center / performing arts theater, walkable parks, and multi-use trails. On April 7th of this year, the City Commission approved to enter a contract with Zeb Cohen Engineering for 2853 South Atlantic Avenue City Park improvements for $168,000 in order to be eligible to apply for a Volusia County ECA grant, which is a 1-to-1 match. These are the photos of the current park, what it looks like today. And as everyone has seen, and of the copies that we've sent, put back in the back, this is a first draft rendering of the proposed park. All the construction is behind the coastal construction line. It includes a restroom with 2 bathrooms, shower and foot wash, bike rack, exercise equipment, trees, shade, pavilion, picnic area, and playground. According to the National Realtors Association and other findings, walkable parks are not just green space. They are a walkability asset that can command a measurable price premium, attract more buyers, and enhance long-term property value. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. City Manager, I heard some dissension out there. Can you please verify for me, can you go backwards when we started the Park and Recs? That survey, I received one at my home several different ways. Did everyone in the city, and can you tell me all of the touch points where people would have known what was going on, please, for me?
Certainly. As Director Maddox pointed out, there was a survey mailed to every residence within the city, and there were 2 stakeholder meetings. As she pointed out, we had about 60 people at each one of those meetings. The consultants then presented this plan to commission, and then again presented the plan at Coffee with the Mayor. The proposed improvements to this park were the number 2 priority presented in that plan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is there anyone on the dais? I don't have any speakers right now. But, I'm sorry.
We have a lot of speakers on this issue.
Well, I'm saying on the dais. Oh,
Just, I've received several emails.
yes, I see that here, Commissioner. I see that we have, I'm asking first, do we have any from the dais?
I'd like to say something.
Yes, and what I'm saying is I've received several emails, so I appreciate everybody emailing, and I understand there's an awful lot of people here that want to speak, so
Yes,
I'm
there are.
certainly interested in hearing what you have to say, and I definitely have an open mind, so.
Okay, so is there a ordinance on this or just a discussion? Okay,
Discussion.
okay. All right, so no motion can be made?
You can, it's not,
Because I think Commissioner Dubinsky had.
oh, if you have a motion, yes, definitely this would be the time.
Kind of unusual, but this is my anniversary of my 28 years ago I came to Daytona Beach Shores to be the public safety director. I've been to every council and now commission meeting since May of 1998. I've seen a lot of things going on in our city, and usually when there's an issue, usually there's not a lot of people at our meetings, but when there's an issue, I always see a lot of people. And over the years, there's been quite a few issues that we've had a lot of people. I feel bad because the staff did a lot of work on this park. And I was all for it until I went over there and I realized, and I've been getting many emails and some not so nice letters that made me realize that the people did not really understand what this park study was all about. And quite frankly, I believe that space is too small for everything that they want to put in there. I also feel bad because, like I said, the staff does a great job. We want to do the right thing for the city. I can't speak for my other commission members, but I'm going to propose a motion. I want to keep the walkway where it is now. Obviously, we need access to the beach. The more I live on the beach, the more access we have, the better. But I'd like to make a motion that we do away with the bathrooms, that we do away with the playground. This is just too small. And I realize the city we've invested funds into this because I believe that, I know I was under the mistaken impression that people in the community understood what was going to happen. I'd like to keep I don't know how much detail I need to go into with this, what I'd like, but obviously we want some shade. It's a long walk. I did it. I met up with Mr. Langford a couple weeks ago, and I walked along the walkway, and it could use shade. I could use a foot shower to clean off your stuff when you come back from the beach. But I don't even know how to put this motion, but I do not feel we need the bathrooms or the exercise equipment.
Too on, and I feel the same way too. I can't tell you the number of people that do walk on the beach and that say, I have no way to ride. Remember, again, as Mr. Brown said, people are older, so to go from Frank Rendon down to Van to try and wash off your feet and come back, and a lot of people do use this access. I love this plan. I think it looks wonderful, but if you go there and look in person, it is very, very small. So I think back to the days when, I brought my kids to the beach, and I wish there was a place, some of you that live right on the beach have the luxury of going back up to the restroom if you have to go. Other people, and they live at the Crayons and at Cloverleaf, don't have that luxury, and they are a little bit older. Wish we could have done that, but when I was elected into office 8 years ago, I talked about the will of the people, and I can see right now that this is the will of the people, that you don't want this there. I wish we had more people here, maybe from the Cloverleaf or for the Grand, that would have felt a little bit differently, that are walkers, that would have liked that, but you are the folks that showed up tonight. So I'm also feeling the same way, that it's very important for me that we listen to these residents and that we have that foot wash and shower, and then that one picnic table that's there, we can cover it so people can get out of the hot sun. So, Commissioner Carr, do you have anything else, or do you want me to move on?
Maybe the second, I think.
I'll second.
Wait a second, okay. And Commissioner Politis, I see that you did want to speak. You're on here. Do you still?
No, yeah, I agree with Commissioner Dembinski. If it's adequate the way it is, yes, we can dress it up a little bit with some shade and maybe some landscaping. But I agree, if it was proposed in the survey or what was presented to us, those are suggestions. We ultimately have to act and see what people want and what they don't want. And I agree, it's just too tight of a space to try and accomplish those goals that are in this artist rendering. And that's the reason why I second the motion.
Great, thank you. And did you want to speak?
I do. And actually, I was going to propose a motion to vacate the entire project. But again, if there's room to put trees and shade, that type of thing, that would be fine too. But I totally understand what all these folks have been saying. So
Okay, great. So I just want to clarify, though, at St. Kitts, they don't have their own stairs, so they use this accent. Is that correct, Director? Okay, great, all right. So we have a motion and a second, so let's hear from some of our audience here. So Blake Schmidt. Blake, still here?
Blake.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, they're telling me everything I'm supposed to say.
Okay.
Let them come up too.
This is your 3 minutes. You say whatever you want to us, Ms. Schmidt.
Blake Schmidt, 4 Oceans West at the Cloverleaf North.
Please, can we hear? And I think, why don't you raise that a little bit? I think it was a little hard to hear. And come in a little closer. Okay. Sorry.
Give her time back.
I'm not a public speaker.
Sherry, at the end, will you, if she's not done, can you allow her 15 more seconds, please?
Oh, I'll be done. My main whole reason for coming up here was to say, looking at this, and I agree with everything you said, what's there is okay, except there's no ramp. Now, I have no way of getting up. I can go down those stairs. I cannot come up those stairs. And if I want to take chairs and an umbrella and all this other stuff, I'm not walking all the way down to Peck thing or the van or up to Rendon. That's just too far. And who wants to load all this stuff in my car when I live across the street from the beach? So that's my biggest thing, is that if we're going to keep this, which I know we should, we need to put a ramp there that you can take your stuff down, and people that want to ride. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to our Director Cruz. Can you come up here for a moment, please? Now, I understand, so the meeting that we had, and I forget what month it was in, we actually, even though it would have been a huge expense, we were willing to tear down the existing ramp we have there right now that isn't that old. But in order, can you explain a little bit about the elevation that it was, that we went both to the resident to the north, and we also went to the condo to the south and asked them, would you please allow us to do this so we can build an ADA ramp here, and we were not successful.
Correct, Madam Mayor. So the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation, they have essentially signaled to us that the only way they will approve an ADA ramp at this location, because it's so tight, is if we were to build in front, meaning east of the rock revetment system that's there, and we would need to go either in front of the St. Kitts property, on the beach side, obviously, or in front of the Cannons property, which is to the north, in front of their property on the beach as well. We approached both property owners, and both property owners denied us the right to go ahead and do that, which is their right, obviously.
Right, absolutely.
But because that option to build in front of their properties has been taken away from the city, more likely the DEP and the FWC will be denying our permit any day now.
And I know we tried to be creative and think outside the box. I know our coastal director had a fantastic idea. Several people had fantastic ideas on what we could do instead. And can you explain to me one more time, is it because of the narrowness or?
So because of the narrowness of the property, we can't get the slopes that's required by the ADA requirements. We actually came up with, I believe it was 11 or 12 different iterations to make it possible. And the only one that would work, that would get approved by the DEP and the Florida Fish and Wildlife, that's allowed under the law, is to build again in front of either the Cannon's property or the St. Kitts property, and we were turned down from that.
Can you tell me again, what do you mean build? So the termination of the ramp would be in front of there, or explain to me a little bit more?
So depending on which option, so they've already said we can't do this.
Okay,
But
right,
in theory, we would probably have to go about maybe 30 feet in front of each of their property if we're to go to the south or to the north, just because the slopes are not there in order for us to meet ADA. So under the ADA, you can't have slopes that would essentially have a wheelchair, in theory, just roll down. So you have to have a certain incline and then a landing, and then another incline and then a landing. And so you end up with a switchback type design that would again be in front of either the St. Kitts property or the Cannon property.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that explanation. I knew it was something to do with being narrow, and I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you. Pat Sutherland?
Just a few minutes left.
Yes, certainly. Come on up.
Now that he's
Okay. And we're going to give you take whatever you need.
Okay, Blake Schmidt, 4 Oceans West. After he was talking, he said all he did and said that.
Can everybody hear her or not? Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but.
Okay. After what he said about St. Kitts saying no, but he said St. Kitts uses those two stairs because they have no way to get down. Why can't they now? Why can't we say, oh no, you can't use our stairs if you aren't going to let us have the ramp? It don't make sense.
I'm a big advocate of property owners have rights. I mean, we did go to both of them asking if they would do that. Their answer was no, but again, property owners have rights.
Well, now, can we just close it off to them? Let them do their own thing? Why not? If they're saying no to us.
Thank you for your comments.
I don't know.
Pat Sutherland?
My name is Pat Sutherland. I live in Oceans 4. The ramps, I agree 100%. I'm talking about rentals also. You built those townhomes by us. You have no idea how many people have sneaked into our condo, have tried to use our pool, and they say, well, we're only here for a couple of days. We don't have a pool. We should have access to your building. We've had to put them out. We've had access. We're a nervous wreck. And now you're saying restrooms? I mean, we'll just have more people coming here that don't belong here, and the buses will be bringing them here. We might as well forget about Daytona Beach Shores the way I moved in '99 when it was the best place to live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have David Cannon.
Good evening. My wife Jamie spoke earlier on. I am the owner of 2847 South Atlantic. First of all, I'm going to say we never received a letter whatsoever. And the first thing I knew of it was when Stuart Edmonds and Steve Cruz came to my door to talk about the access on the back. So obviously, I said, let me talk with my wife. That weekend when spring breakers, we had a nightmare. That put us off saying we would grant it. So then I met back with Steve, and we said that what happens now? He goes, well, St. Kitts hasn't granted it, therefore you haven't granted it, we can't do it. So I never knew anything about this that was going on whatsoever until two of the neighbours from St. Kitts came to my house and said, "Do you know what's going on?" And I said, "No, we don't." So, I mean, I thank you for, for the toilets and everything else that you said they can't go in. But what worries me is the pavilion on the end. We have enough people leaning over the wall, jumping the fence, and looking into our yard and shouting over. If this gets built, it's going to be 10 times worse for us. I mean, I agree, yeah, the people need to get onto the beach. But with this, it's going to be a nightmare for us. Security, trash, the burning of the grill coming into our yard. And also as well, when you're walking up that ramp from the road, as it gets higher, people are going like this into our house. When we bought that land, nothing was like this. We lived in St. Kitts for 4 years, so we know how valuable that area is. So I'm just like to say I'm totally against it because of those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan Murphy.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and fellow residents. Thank you for your service to the community and for the opportunity to speak. I live at St. Kitts, 2855 South Atlantic. I'm here co-representing concerned citizens of St. Kitts and neighboring properties regarding the public restroom picnic pavilion within the beach easement corridor north of St. Kitts. Now, you took some of the steam out of what I prepared. So we respectfully ask the council to reconsider the project due to its incompatibility with the site, its potential negative impacts on our residential neighborhood, and serious questions about the eligibility for the Volusia Echo grant funding. So first, the narrow 38 easement corridor between the South Atlantic Avenue and the beach has never formally been identified as a park. Therefore, it's been referenced tonight as St. Kitts. We recommend that it be named the Douglas Cook Lane rather than St. Kitts, so it doesn't create an illusion of liability for the St. Kitts building. So forevermore, remove St. Kitts as a nomenclature. Second, there are 2 Volusia County parks with restroom facilities already in existence nearby to the north and south. So that alleviates that need. But also, there are ADA ramps in those areas. So I understand her concern, but when Mr. Cook deeded that easement to the city with the specific agreement that St. Kitts would be given access to that walkway, it cannot be taken away. Third, the proposal raises legitimate safety, maintenance, and environmental concerns. Let me explain. If you live there, or if you go visit a couple times, and I don't think a lot of people in the city government does this, you got to go do a site visit multiple times, you will quickly learn that that's a wind tunnel, especially in the evenings. Therefore, trees would be the more optimal solution than built structures, because during the storms it becomes an even more violent wind tunnel, and they would be broken up. Therefore, we urge the city to consider a far more suitable alternative, which is the city-owned property on Ridge Road, the west side of South Atlantic, which is directly across the easement. This location offers ample space for the structures and parking. It has existing utilities, fencing for security, and would eliminate impacts on neighboring homes while better serving the public. However, we are happy to work constructively with the city toward a solution that benefits everyone. Therefore, a shower and foot bath are suggested near the South Atlantic Avenue to preclude people from simply bathing, using it, homeless or others, using it as a bathing facility right there in our view. Finally, we recommend, thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Doris Ortiz?
Doris.
Did I say it correctly?
No, it's Ortiz. but
Ortiz.
I'll take anything.
That's
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doris Ortiz, Ms. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and everyone. I am the president of Oceans 10, 2917 South Atlantic Avenue, and as you can imagine, we are absolutely directly affected by both St. Kitts issue as well as the Tuscany issue. And so I'm representing the people in my building because most of what I was going to say has already been said, and so I don't want to be redundant, but I do want to say that the proposed location, I don't think anyone has said this, is on a location where there's a curve. I myself, as a dog walker, have witnessed how many accidents, including fatalities, just in that little span there. And to build a public park there, which I didn't even know that 2 rows of grass equal a public park, it just didn't make sense to me. And then to put bathrooms on top of that, and then to possibly make it a bus stop as well, it's crazy. One of the issues that we have is people coming from the other side, jumping our fence, and trying to get onto the beach in the back of our building, I'm sorry. But what I am going to say is that I agree. I do hope that all of you reconsider and that I agree with the people that have spoken before me. I do want to say on behalf of the board, and I want to read this, that for the safety of residents and visitors, the preservation of community quality of life, and the efficient use of existing public amenities, I strongly urge the town council to reconsider and reject the proposal to place any bathrooms, anything other than grass in that area, and improve the current safe and accessible facilities that are there right now. And just for the record, we absolutely support a ramp for access to the beach and an ADA accessible ramp. And I thank you for your time.
Several people, and we have the motion that the bathrooms will not be there. I have several other speakers. Is there anyone else that has anything that wants to be said different than what's already been said? Thank you. If you'd like to come up, are you ready on here?
I handed my question, yes.
Okay, and may I have your name, please?
Beth Campbell.
Okay, Ms. Campbell. You have that one, Sherry? Okay.
Hi. So I apologize for how I'm dressed. First of all, I did not know I'd be speaking tonight. And I've listened to the meeting, and just thank you for your service and thank you for all your hard work. It's really appreciated. My question has to do with, I live at Tuscany Shores. We moved here 5 years ago and very much enjoyed the ramp, I think as the other residents did. And then with the storms, there wasn't able to be a ramp. But my question is, it's becoming clear in this meeting that there's not going to be an ADA accessible ramp built in front of St. Kitts. And we voted in letter B to remove the beach access and the ramp prior to not knowing there wasn't going to be a ramp. And it seems that a lot of the comments tonight have to do with public beach access, having a ramp where the public can use it. I remember in the meeting in November, and Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what was said was we're planning, if we can, to build the ramp at St. Kitts, but if we can't, we would be restoring the ramp at Tuscany Shores. And something about either within 500 feet or 1,000 feet of the ADA ramp that was at Tuscany Shores, a ramp would have to be built, and if not, then it would have to go back to the Tuscany Shores. So my question is, what about the ADA ramp and our obligation for that?
As I explained before, I mean, you can get with Stuart after the meeting. That's just a policy that we don't answer questions. Up here, I hate to say that, but that's, or we'd be here all night long with the back and forth. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Can I ask Stuart? Stuart, can I ask? What about the ADA ramp? Are we no longer obligated to have an ADA ramp?
Madam Mayor, I think I can address that.
Thank you.
So our requirement is that there be beach access. It does not say a ramp in the agreement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stuart. We do still have a permit in, although we are not optimistic, at the 2853 South Atlantic Avenue. We do still have a permit in. We expect to be rejected for that, but if it is approved, we will build a ramp there. Or if in discussions with St. Kitts, they agree to allow us to go in front of their seawall, we would move forward with that as well. So the city does still have the interest in putting one there if feasible.
Thank you, City Manager.
Okay, and with 28 seconds left, so it's probably not going to happen. And it's just sad that the beach access is going away and the ramp. near Tuscany because we already have the easement. That's it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this topic, but something different? Then Mr. Langford, if you'd like to come up. Langford?
I would just say that you're going to eliminate everything, but still try to pursue the pavilion. Is that what we're saying?
No,
So just a foot wash and a shower, and that's basically it?
Trees.
And trees? Okay. Well, I guess that, that's all I really had. I mean, my primary concern for that is just increasing any kind of intensity of use on that, and certainly to where you might have, putting more people in there, because we do already have some issues with parking. I know I've seen some of you guys visit, and I know whenever it was under construction, our parking lot and our ramp was kind of always full. And so that was, an issue for us, and so we want to watch that. Will we get to see the design of what you're changing before you do it, or no?
Stuart, can you answer that? Will they get to see the design? Okay, thank you.
Before you put it in?
I want a clarification, though. When we said that, I was still under the standing, and I might be wrong, that one picnic table there. So if you call it a pavilion, if you put something on top of it. Stuart, can you clarify for me? I don't know if it'd be, no, Nancy, I'm sorry, it'd probably be you. So that one picnic table that was there, was the intent if we wanted shade that we would put trees there, or that we would put like a top, I don't know if that's called a pavilion or not, but a top on top of it?
Again, this was just a draft.
Okay.
This is not set in stone. And actually, the pavilion and everything that we were going to build is going to be behind the coastal line, so that it would have been back further. It would be back there, not be right on the beach area.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, so is there, right now, the pavilion's not going in? Is that what we're saying?
If you'd like to address that, Mr.
Well, there's a motion right now, but I was gonna, again, as I mentioned before, I was gonna have my own motion basically, and to vacate everything. The city has spent money on this, but basically, or to continue it for now, but again, with the idea that this is not gonna happen. But in order to discuss this further, I don't know if we would need a workshop or whatever, but to have citizen input. Obviously, there's a lot of folks here, and I'm sure you'd like to have some input on what goes in this or what does not. So my alternative motion is to either vacate this as is, or at least continue it so we can have further discussion.
Can I make a comment too, Nancy? The understanding is, in order for us to get a grant or something from ECHO, that's the reason why we had this tonight, because there wouldn't be a continuous. We needed, in order, the cutoff for the ECHO. I didn't know if you understood that. You knew that.
I do, and my motion would be to vacate this. I understand that, and I've looked at this, and I've looked at everybody's emails, heard their comments, and again, if I were to vote today, I would vote no on this.
Okay. Is there any other comments?
So, I guess just the only other thing I would say is that, hey, thank you so much to our officers. I've had to call them a couple of times to come out for homeless that are already out there without those amenities. They do a fabulous job. I don't know how they do it with 37 officers answering over 2,000 calls a month. That's So just, thank you to them, and that's something that, one of our great concerns, that along with, increased intensity and us not being able to have a quiet enjoyment of our areas. It works now, but, a quiet enjoyment, as it should be, between, like buffer areas for residential. That's the way it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There are several different areas that have restrooms there. Do we have a lot of incidents? I know we're responsible for maintaining Frank Rendon Park. Do we have 2 restrooms down at McElroy? We have something. Is that an issue? And can you tell me how we deal with it?
Very minimal.
And how do you deal with it if you do find someone?
Then we basically tell them that that type of behavior is not tolerated in the shores, and they move along.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else that wishes to speak that has signed up? do either one of the Bovas wish to speak?
We're good.
Thank you.
Oh, Rick, if you want to come back up now.
Just, first of all, as a point of order, there's a motion and kind of a sub-second motion, and there was a second by the same person that made a sub-second motion. It's not
Point of order, yes.
proper protocol. So
I did not second it.
We're going to take our time. Please state what the motion is, and that's what I want to speak on, which is different. You're now going into discussion on it versus a pending motion that nobody was
Thank you.
previously signed up for.
Thank you, if you want. So you
But I
have the,
do want to
you
speak
had
on
the motion. Can you repeat your motion?
Well, I'd like to amend it if I could a little bit.
Yes.
And I think Chris has a very good point. I'd like to make a motion that we negate this plan, that the city manager comes up with a new proposal that will contain shade, a foot shower, or like a small shower, whatever you want to call it. And we don't have any amenities there, other than, like I say, lots of shade, because it's a long, long walk. And the city manager brings us back a plan, and then we'll go over that.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so that's the motion.
That's clear.
Thank you, we were going to do that, but you jumped the
I
gun.
appreciate you restating it because it's a lot clearer.
Did I miss some?
So on discussion on the motion as it's now been stated and seconded. Yeah, I speak in favor of that. For right now, we do need the shade. I agree with everything you've said. What you do need to be aware, and Ms. Campbell just eloquently put it, we voted on giving away the ramp before we talked about getting new ramp. So it kind of was the cart before the horse. So now you've given away, and this is why I say I'm going to call into question the state on this, and this was part of the city land code, for those of you who aren't familiar. It's a mile round trip to get to a handicap ramp. You also don't want a bus stop there, okay? Nobody wants a bus stop, nobody wants a parking lot. We gave away over 1/3 of an acre of what would have been city property, okay, in the front end. I gotta commend Mr. Cannon for an excellent land deal. He bought that piece of property that was for sale for forever because it didn't have road frontage. That belonged to the city, but he got it for free. So, and he hadn't had to pay taxes. Well, I commend him for an excellent deal. That was pretty good on his part. But it hurts us citizens. And especially, I'm not allowed to ask you questions, but how many of you have actually walked that part? I'm not talking just once. I'm there every day. I'm up there picking up the trash because we don't have enough city time there picking up. The used condoms on the picnic table. Yes, the used condoms. Some of our Airbnb friends that we voted for across the street, there's no bathroom. That doesn't stop them. They urinate on the trees there, okay? So that's what we've invited into the neighborhood. And yes, I agree we need a bathroom somewhere for somebody, but it is trying to put 100 pounds of stuff in a 10-pound sack, and it just isn't going to work. But you're going to have to continue to address the fact that people are going to be using it for personal encounters, as evidenced by the used condoms, and for urination. But I agree, this is ridiculous, and thank you, Commissioner, for clarifying that, but the questions are not going to go away. We just gave away the only place we can put an ADA ramp. We just gave it away. And then we said, oh, well, I guess we can't put an ADA ramp. So that could open you up. I know you're all worried about liability and lawsuits and whatnot. That could put you in a class action lawsuit from the state of Florida and from the ACLU and anybody else that wants to jump on board, because I'll be honest with you, when I was younger, I don't mind running a half mile up the beach, but senior citizens, it's nearly impossible.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. After I see you, do you still wish to speak?
No, Madam, I just wanted clarification on the motion, but I would just ask that it not be restrictive, because if we are rejected on the FDEP permit to put a ramp there, Director Cruz has some improvements that could potentially be made to the stairway to make it easier for folks that have disabilities to get down. So I just want to make sure that whatever motion it is does not limit us that. at the park.
Okay, and Commissioner Dubinsky, based on that, could you redo your motion, please?
I've been doing this a long time, I've never made so many motions in my life.
I
Go
think,
ahead, Peggy. I mean, Becky.
I think possibly the city manager could articulate what you were looking for in the motion. He could do it better than I could.
Well, I doubt that, but maybe if we had a motion that the staff work with our residents to come up with a plan, including shade, the foot wash, and other minor improvements, that would leave us enough leeway to be able to do that and investigate further.
And that's the motion I wanted to make.
Have a motion and a second. Shira, can you take a vote, please? Okay, that passed 5-0. Thank you. What do you have for us this evening?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Yes, and I just wanted to add, I was reminded by our IT manager, we could potentially put cameras in there as well that would help more easily monitor that. As commission knows, and there'll be a presentation at Coffee with the Mayor, we've joined the FUSIS program, and all of our cameras can be monitored at the Real-Time Crime Center 24/7 now. I told you last month that Max Daytona was interested in switching to a condo from hotel. They came before the Planning and Zoning Board, and that was approved for the Max to convert to condominiums. We see that as a very positive sign. We are working on a sign ordinance in response to the business owners that spoke at last month's meeting. We are looking at being able to bring some tasteful A-frame signs that should help with visibility and not diminish our quality of life here. It would also potentially allow for tasteful merchandise displays to be in front of some of our businesses. The mayor and Director Irwin attended the county council meeting today, where county council approved an additional $2.86 million in a CDBG grant for upgrades to our sewer system. That brings our total CDBG grant award to $8.47 million. So thank you, Director Irwin and Mayor, for going there and getting that grant approved. Since we have so many people, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you what that's going to do. I didn't have this on my sheet, but it's going to allow us to upgrade our manholes, and we have some aging pipes. It's going to allow us to reline those pipes, and that should be vastly improved infrastructure. We're excited about that, and we have about another $22 million worth of upgrades that the city needs. Maddie has worked on a CAM page. We met with, that's condominium association managers. We are working on a page for them. We met with a group, and they had a bunch of questions for us. She's already got the page up and running, I think, a few hours after we met with them. It has got a CAM update form on it so that we are updating and communicating with the current CAMs. It's got city department contact information and quick links to common city resources. Additionally, it'll have a frequently asked questions section, and the most demand that we got was for permitting questions. So that will be there for them. The mayor was recognized by Longstreet Elementary for her volunteer service over the years. Thank you, Mayor. I know that was a nice thing that they did for you there. In response to several citizen suggestions to change the name of the city to more accurately reflect our quality of life and create a distinction between the Shores and other Volusia cities, staff is conducting a survey to determine our residents' interest in updating our name. So far, we've received 390 responses. The survey closes Monday, May 13th at midnight. If you haven't voted yet, please do. Visit our Facebook page or our website for the QR code to allow you to vote. And if you haven't gotten a chance yet, Maddie sits right over here, and she's got the QR code with her tonight. She will get you to that page. We definitely want to hear your feedback. And finally, Director Maddox and I met with the owners of the pier. They are in the process of doing upgrades to the pier. They've already done phase 1. They're in phase 2 now, which is adding a bar and adding about, I think, 80 more seats to improve the draw there. And then they have plans, assuming permitting, because FDEP will be involved, to extend the pier. So we're very excited about that landmark improvement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go on to council comments. I'm going to start off on something that was very sad to me. You know, as a Christian, I received this in the mail last week, along with 2 members of our staff. Our staff work tirelessly. We have the best staff in Volusia County. I can say that because I've been all around Volusia County. And for someone to send this like this, but I have to say, if you send something anonymous, that's synonymous with being a coward. I appreciate every single one of you from St. Kitts. You sent me letters, you sent me emails and texts, you signed your name, what unit you were in. We listened to you, as you can tell tonight. We received 2 different pieces of, first of all, this very nasty letter, and then something else that was anonymous. Don't do that to us. We are here to serve you. You've elected us. Put your name down. If anyone has reached out to me, you know I always call you back. I get back to you. So I was highly insulted about that. I hate that I had to bring that up today. But if you're the person that sent this and you're new to our city, this probably is not the right place for you to live. This city, again, life is better here. We help our neighbors. We respect our neighbors. We have older people that are handicapped that I see people going out of their way to try and help them. That's what this city is about. It's not because of this letter that I received. So whoever it is, probably you need to look to somewhere else to live, because this is not the community that's going to welcome you. So thank you. I'll go over my announcements. Tomorrow, May 6th at 10 a.m. is Coffee with the Mayor. So we are going to have Cyrus Callum. He's a very dear friend of mine. He's the Director of Aviation, and so he's over all of the airport. Come and listen to him. We used to be a 2-airline airport. Thank you to Cyrus. He has brought in JetBlue and Breeze, Avelo. So listen to him and what his plans are. He's going to get on you if you fly to Orlando or Sanford. He's going to get on you for that. But anyway, come and listen to him tomorrow. And then right after that, I kind of felt bad about this. So you know about the tragedy that we've had at the crosswalks. You know, this one right out here. And somebody said, you know, well, we don't really need to have this meeting. Yes, we do. We have to find out what is going on, you know, what we can do. Anyway, it's an issue in the city. So right after Coffee with the Mayor, even if you don't want to come to Coffee with the Mayor, if you could join us at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a sidewalk or crosswalk safety. Now, I understand that some of our members went out to a couple of the condos and did this presentation, and they said it was wonderful. So if you could come at all at 11, and even let's brainstorm. You know, I don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. We want to know what we can do to help with this tragedy that happened, last week or 2 weeks ago, and also 3 or 4 months ago, same location. So we need to do something about that. So anyway, that's tomorrow. Saturday, May 16th at 10 a.m. is our annual Armed Forces Day celebration. It's located directly behind the Shores Community Center. So come out and listen. Our speaker this day will be Mayor Fred Cleveland. If you know him, he had a wonderful career in the Navy. Was he a commander? A commander in the Navy. So we're going to have him that day. And then afterwards, barbecue? A barbecue afterwards. So we'd love to have you come. On Tuesday, May 19th, from 2 to 3 in our museum, in motion presentation. So as Nancy has talked to you before, the Brown, which was the CC and Hyatt Museum, is closing down for a couple years. It's now going to be called the Brown. But Nancy has graciously offered our community center for some little mini sessions. And that'll be on May 19th from 2 to 3. The topic this month is going to be UFO. What on earth are they? And then on May 22nd, as we always have, we're going to have from 6:30 to 8:30 our concert in the park featuring Taylor Road Band at the Shores Pavilion. then I want you to mark this down on your calendar. I know a lot of us are retired and we don't work, but the coffee with the mayor we always have in the morning, and some people said, but I really can't make it for that time. So once a year, we have an event in the evening. It's going to be evening exchange. So it's going to be Wednesday, June 3rd. So we will not have coffee in the morning. We'll have that meeting that night, starting at 5 p.m. What I like to do for that meeting is, again, we have such a wonderful staff. I want to make sure, like, we are fully transparent and you know who does what. So every one of our directors will just have a brief overview, what department they're directors of and what their department does. And so if you need any help, you know who to go to. That is all that I have. So Commissioner Dubinsky, what do you have for us this evening?
I've said enough tonight.
Okay. Your card?
Second.
Commissioner Card?
The only thing I want to say is that, talking about the crosswalks, I had the unfortunate privilege to watch the lady get hit 2 weeks ago. And at the end of the day, what we have discussed with the chief is that even when the button is pushed and the lights are blinking, to stay put and give us some time. Seems like none of the individuals are winning against the cars. So please slow down, just give us some time and let them go through. Most of them, even though they see the lights, it takes them a while to slow down. It doesn't register. They may not be from here.
We get a light.
Be safe.
And we're going to talk a lot about this, but when our city manager was the director of public safety, he said something that has stuck with me. Make eye contact. We'll talk about that. Don't assume because those lights are on. Look and make sure that they see you. So we'll talk about that and a lot of other ideas tomorrow. Please bring your ideas because we're open to anything.
I don't have any comments.
Neither do I. Okay, so do we have any items for our next agenda? Okay, I don't have, do we have any other audience comments? Okay, if nothing else, thank you so much for being here this evening, but don't make this your only time. I want you to know what's going on in the city. So we have these meetings, we have coffee with the mayor, I tell you everything that's going on. You are a valuable part of this community, and I want to make sure that you interact with us. So thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry, wait, don't leave yet. Kristen, were you supposed to come up?
It's all good. Everybody's been here a long time. Come visit your local Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, guys.